3 years. I thought I had finally found happiness. I never expected reality to deal me a heavy blow. Amelia, I'm sorry. I am going to pick up Sophia. Ethan's words still echoed in my ears. He left me in this remote place just like that. I looked at the distant, blurred lights. I feel an immense sense of loss in my heart. This was originally our wedding anniversary. The wind howled through the desolate mountain path. The mountain road under the night sky is pitch dark. I am standing by the roadside. The thin skirt rustled in the cold wind. I tremble all over. I don't know if it's because of the cold or because my heart is filled with despair. 3 years have passed. I always thought I had finally found happiness, but reality has left me deeply disappointed. Amelia, I'm sorry. I am going to pick up Sophia. Ethan's words were still echoing in my ears. He left me in this remote place just like that. I gazed at the distant, blurred lights. The mood is very heavy. This should have been our wedding anniversary, but now everything feels unreal. I trembled as I took out my phone. I saw an unread message on the screen. It was sent by Sophia, sister. I am pregnant. It's Ethan's. I closed my phone helplessly, realizing that I've been lying to myself all along. Those ambiguous interactions in the friend circle, and those inadvertent glances. I should have noticed the problem long ago, but I chose to ignore it. Sophia not only moved into the house that Ethan and I share, still smug in front of me. I am still foolishly struggling for this marriage. The cold wind howls. I couldn't help but shiver, took a deep breath. His hand trembled slightly as he swiped the phone screen. I finally found that familiar number for the divorce lawyer. It's time to end this suffocating marriage. The bits and pieces of the past 3 years are surfacing in my mind. I used to think, as long as I love him enough, he will change his mind, but now I understand. Some people are beyond redemption. Hello, is this lawyer Michael? I want to process the divorce paperwork. My voice sounds especially lonely in the cold wind. At this moment, I feel as if I can hear the sound of my heart breaking. I put down my phone. Tears keep flowing uncontrollably, although the cold wind is biting, but it feels inferior to the chill in my heart. My thoughts involuntarily drifted back to a few years ago. At that time, I was working at a bar to earn tuition fees. In the dim light, the sound of clinking glasses rose and fell. I weaved through the crowded crowd, carefully holding the tray, avoid those drunken guests. Sweat started to bead on the back. I try to keep smiling. The pressure of tuition fees weights on me like a heavy mountain. Every night feels like an endless marathon. Suddenly, a rough hand grabbed my wrist. Beauty, come have a drink. I looked up in fear. I saw a flushed drunk man staring at me. Her gaze was perplexed. I want to break free, but the voice trembled with fear. Don't rush to leave. He suddenly stood up. It walked towards me, swaying unsteadily. I took a few steps back, leaning against the wall. Feel like there's nowhere to escape. Fear surged like a tide. It almost took my breath away at that moment. A tall person stood in front of me. He pushed the drunk man away. Turn around and look at me. In the dim light, I finally saw his face clearly, with distinct features, steadfast gaze. He said to me, "Don't be afraid, I will always protect you." He held my hand. "Warmth is past, as long as you are by my side. No one dares to hurt you." I was stunned. The heartbeat quickened at that moment. I feel that I have found true love. His name is Ethan. We soon fell deeply in love. Ethan cares about me a lot. It makes me feel an unprecedented sense of security. He often picks me up from work late at night, prepare for an unexpected date. If I am sad, he will give me a tight hug. I used to believe that our love would last forever. However, reality is so ironic. At this moment, I was abandoned in a remote place by the person who once promised to accompany me. Lonely and helpless, memories intertwine with reality. The pain in my heart surged like the tides. I curled up by the roadside. The cold wind howls past. Uncertain how much time has passed, I slowly stood up, walking heavily in the direction of home. The night is very dark. There is no one on the street. My shadow stretches long under the street lamp. It seems to endlessly prolong my loneliness. Every step feels like walking on the edge of a blade. The pain in my heart was almost suffocating. After sending Ethan the message about the divorce, I returned home with a tired body. When I opened the door and looked in, Ethan was actually sitting on the sofa waiting for me. He had a very disdainful expression on his face. She clearly doesn't believe that I really want a divorce. His aloof attitude made me feel a wave of disgust. "Amelia, stop messing around. You know you can't live without me," Ethan said with a hint of disdain. "It seems that they think I am just throwing a tantrum." I looked at him coldly. The last trace of warmth in my heart also vanished. The man who once made my heart flutter. Now there is only a hypocritical facade left. Ethan, let's break up. Think whatever you like. My voice is calm and powerful. Even I find it surprising. Ethan's expression changed instantly, said angrily, Amelia, do you know what you are talking about? Not without me. You are nothing. His words were like a sharp knife. It pierced my heart with great pain. But strangely enough, I seem to no longer feel any pain. Those words that once hurt me very much, now it sounds like nothing but meaningless nonsense. I stared into his eyes. Speak clearly. Ethan, I don't need your charity starting today. I want to live for myself. Said that. I went straight upstairs. No longer paid attention to Ethan. At the moment the door to the room was closed, I seemed to hear some broken sound. It could be our marriage. It may also be my former innocence. I know, starting from today, I am going to start a new life. Although the future is uncertain, but at least, I have finally found myself. I dragged my tired body, fell onto the bed. Tears kept flowing uncontrollably. The pillow is all wet. I curled up. Let the sadness and despair in my heart take over me. I don't know how long it has been. The phone suddenly vibrated. Wake me up from this state. I groggily fumbled for my phone. I saw that Nathan sent a message. Amelia, are you okay? A few simple words made me feel somewhat uncomfortable. I bit my lip. After hesitating for a moment, they finally responded. I'm fine. Don't lie to me anymore. I am downstairs at your place. Come down, I will take you to a place. I was stunned. How did Nathan end up here? He is a good friend of Ethan. You want me to change my mind? I hesitated for a moment. In the end, I put on my clothes and went downstairs. Nathan stood by the car. When you see me, a trace of pain appeared in her eyes. Get in the car. I'll take you to a nice place, he said softly. The tone is very gentle. I nodded somewhat absent-mindedly, sat in the passenger seat. The car slowly drove out of the community, moved towards the unknown. On the way, Nathan didn't say much, just occasionally glancing at me with concern. I leaned against the car window, watching the scenery on the street rush by. I vaguely feel that I am also escaping from my past life. I don't know how much time has passed. The car is parked on a high ground. Nathan asked me to get out of the car. Take me to a viewpoint. This is the best place to observe the aurora. He spoke softly. I looked up. A brilliant light suddenly erupted in the dark night sky. The light was as gentle as silk, dancing in the sky, transformed into various beautiful colors. I couldn't help but hold my breath, completely captivated by the stunning beauty of the scenery. As a painter, I have never seen such a stunning natural wonder. The flowing light and shadows seemed to be telling the secrets of the universe, made people forget all their worries. Amelia, your eyes are more beautiful than the aurora. Nathan suddenly spoke softly. I turned my head to look at him suddenly. His gaze was gentle yet focused. There was an emotion in their eyes that I couldn't comprehend. That moment, my heartbeat involuntarily slowed for a moment. Why did you bring me here? I asked softly. Nathan smiled slightly. I know you need this. Amelia, you shouldn't be trapped by that unfortunate marriage. I hope you can find yourself again. Re-experience the beauty of life. His words made me feel warm. Suddenly, I realized Nathan has been quietly caring for me. Even when I was with Ethan, thank you, Nathan. I speak sincerely, tears welling up in the eyes. He gently patted my shoulder. Say, you're welcome. You deserve to live a better life. Amelia, don't let those who are unworthy affect your brilliance. Under the illumination of the aurora, I feel a long-lost warmth and hope. Although life after divorce is not easy, but having friends like Nathan around, I feel that the future seems to hold hope. I took a deep breath. Once again, I cast my gaze upon the dancing auroras in the sky. The beautiful light seems to be telling me about hope and new beginnings. It made me feel much lighter inside. In the company of Nathan, I gradually regained my confidence, also felt the warmth of being valued, although there are still many uncertainties in the future. But I know, just take the first step with courage. You will definitely find your own happiness. I took a deep breath, pushed open the door of the restaurant. Nathan is following me, gently patted my shoulder. Don't be nervous. I am by your side, he said gently. The crystal chandelier overhead sparkles. A soft piano melody drifts through the air. We found a quiet place to sit down. Nathan thoughtfully ordered my favorite pasta for me. I tried to force a smile, but there is just no appetite. Amelia, don't think too much. Nathan looked at me with concern. Enjoy your dinner. I forced a nod, just as I was about to say something. I saw a pair of familiar people walk into the restaurant. It is Ethan and Sophia. I suddenly froze up with nervousness. The fork in hand clattered as it fell into the plate. Nathan followed my gaze, the eyebrows immediately furrowed. He held my icy hand, comfort me, saying, "Don't be afraid. I am here." Ethan and Sophia had clearly noticed us too. The air seemed to freeze all at once. Ethan showed a hint of embarrassment on his face, but soon became calm and composed again. He stands very straight. It seems to deliberately convey a sense of superiority. What a coincidence. "Amelia," he spoke casually. I bit my lip tightly. I don't want to pay attention to him. His self-righteous demeanor makes me feel sick. Sophia is not willing to let me go. She held Ethan's hand, deliberately approaching me. "Hey, Sister Amelia. Long time no see." She forced a smile and said, "I heard that you have been doing well lately." I stared at her in silence. No response. Sophia noticed that I was silent. The eyes darted. "Continue speaking. By the way, Sister Amelia, I have always wanted to return that antique necklace to you." I was taken aback. That was the only relics left to me by my mother. However, Sophia has a particularly beautiful smile. Ethan said that the necklace suits me perfectly, so it was given to me. I suddenly felt dizzy and lightheaded. That necklace is the last connection between my mother and me. Now it has been taken away so easily by them. I am somewhat trembling, want to speak but can't articulate complete sentences. Nathan saw it. "Stand up immediately and block my way." Her gaze was sharp like a knife. He said coldly, "Ethan, you are really going too far. This is Amelia's mother's keepsake." "How could you do this?" I rebutted. "This matter is between Amelia and me. You don't need to interfere." Ethan interjected, "Since we have already divorced." "That is my thing," he said arrogantly. "I want to give to whoever I choose." I feel a bit breathless. Tears brimmed in the eyes, yet stubbornly unwilling to flow down. Nathan clenched his fist, angrily staring at Ethan. I take a deep breath, hold Nathan's arm and say, "Don't be angry anymore. Nathan, let them go." I stood up, looked directly into Ethan's eyes. "Ethan, I really feel sorry for you. Do you think this way can hurt me?" I let out a cold laugh. "You are mistaken. Starting from today, you have become meaningless to me." After finishing speaking, I pulled Nathan and turned to leave. Behind her came Sophia's sharp laughter. But I no longer care. Leave the restaurant. The night breeze gently blows. It made me feel much more relaxed. Nathan looked at me with concern and asked, "Amelia, are you okay?" I gently shook my head. A relieved smile appeared. "I am fine, Nathan, thank you." He smiled faintly. "Let's go. Let's eat somewhere else." I nodded, walked towards the car with him, although I lost the things left by my mother. But I understand that I have regained something more important, my courage and dignity. I followed Nathan to the parking lot. The feelings were somewhat complicated. The night breeze helped alleviate some of the heaviness I felt, but that feeling still remains. Nathan opened the car door, looking at me with concern. "Should we go for a walk by the beach?" I nodded, sat in the passenger seat. The car drove into the night. The neon lights outside the window flashed by quickly. The wind by the sea is cooler than in the city. I took a deep breath of the salty air. It feels like my chest has become a bit lighter. "Thank you, Nathan," I said softly. Nathan smiled, say, "It's okay, you can walk out." I am relieved. We walked slowly along the coastline. Everyone remained silent. The sound of waves crashing against the shore is very relaxing. The phone suddenly vibrated. There is a message displayed. It was sent by Ethan. "Amelia, let's talk." I stared at the screen. My hands are a little shaky. Nathan noticed my reaction, came over to take a look. "Do you want to reply?" he asked softly. I shook my head, about to delete the message. I received another message. "I am waiting for you at the entrance of the restaurant." I suddenly lifted my head. The neon lights of the distant restaurant faintly came into view. A familiar figure is standing there. "Amelia, you don't have to do this," Nathan said with some concern. I took a deep breath, say, "It's fine. I'll go take a look." I strode towards the dining room. Nathan followed closely behind. Ethan saw us. A hint of unhappiness appeared on his face. "Amelia, can we talk privately?" He spoke in a cold tone. I scoffed disdainfully. "Feel free to say anything here." Ethan frowned. "You have changed. The old you was not like this." "Yes, I have changed." I looked into his eyes and said, "I am no longer the Amelia who lets you bully me. Do you think I would come back to you?" "That's a beautiful thought." "I am angry." The voice trembled slightly. Ethan's expression changed immediately. Nathan stood up. "Ethan, your views on love are truly disgusting. What do you take Amelia for? Is it something that can be trampled on casually? What qualifications do you have to say this to me? Ethan glared at Nathan. I certainly have the qualifications, Nathan said fearlessly. As a normal person, I have the right to criticize your selfishness and shamelessness. You betrayed Amelia's sincerity. Now you still have the nerve to pester her. Ethan was rendered speechless. The expression on his face changed from one moment to the next. At that moment, Sophia walked out of the restaurant. She saw us. A hint of tension flashed in his eyes. Ethan, you are here. She pretended to be coy and said, our baby is still waiting for Dad. I looked at their terrible performance with disdain. Sophia, your performance is getting worse and worse. Sophia's expression changed. What do you mean, stop pretending? I said sarcastically. Your false pregnancy has already been exposed by someone. Ethan suddenly turned to look at Sophia. You are lying to me. Sophia panicked. Ethan, let me explain it to you. I looked at them coldly. Ethan, you finally got the result you wanted. I hope you can cherish your true love. Ethan's expression changed repeatedly. He seems to finally understand. The previous methods of suppression and neglect are no longer effective. I will not bow my head anymore. He wants to say something, but it got stuck. I turned around and linked my arm with Nathan's. Goodbye, Ethan. Wish you happiness. We turned and left. Ethan and Sophia exchanged glances. The night wind blew. Took away the last bit of emotion. I understand. From now on, I want to start over. Walk towards my own life. A few days later in the afternoon, the sunlight streamed through the large windows of the studio. The floor is cast with mottled shadows and light. I am focused on sketching a new painting with my brush. Suddenly, I heard hurried footsteps behind me. Amelia. I turned my head to take a look. Ethan was standing at the door, a complex expression. His gaze swept around the studio. It seems to be confirming something. I put down the paintbrush, quietly watching him. How did you come here? I asked. The voice is very calm. Ethan hesitated. Entered the studio. His gaze was fixed on the painting beside me. The brow was slightly furrowed. Amelia, do you really not love me anymore? He asked tentatively. A glimmer of hope sparkled in the eyes. I let out a cold smile. Ethan, what do you think? His expression changed slightly. I know I have done many wrong things. But how? I interrupted him. You think I would still forgive you? Ethan remained silent for a while, suddenly said, I think Sophia might be different from what I imagined. I raised my eyebrows. Oh, how? I finally understand her. I'm not very sure either. Ethan shook his head. I just feel that when I'm with you, the most relaxed and at ease. I looked at him coldly. Ethan, what we had between us is over. Please leave. Amelia, can you give me a chance? He said. Want to hold my hand? I quickly stepped back. Avoided his hand. It's no longer necessary. You can leave now. A hint of bitterness appeared on Ethan's face, but it soon calmed down again. He glanced at me, then turned and walked towards the door. Amelia, I really regret it, he whispered at the door. I did not answer him, just turned around and continued to draw, until I heard the sound of the door closing. I just sighed in relief, put down the paintbrush. I walked to the window, watching Ethan's figure as he walked away. It is evident that his shoulders are somewhat slumped. The steps while walking are also very heavy. I know he is still thinking about what to salvage, but my heart no longer beats for him. I gently touched my chest, feeling the calm heartbeat of the heart that was once excited for him. It has now become bland. I understand. I have finally emerged from that painful past, found myself again, back to the easel. I picked up the paintbrush. Continue painting that new piece. The painting features the back view of a woman. She stood at the edge of the cliff, looking at the vast ocean. That was me, the reborn Amelia. The sunlight still warmly shines on the canvas. It's like a blessing for my new life. I understand. The road ahead may still have some difficulties, but I am ready to embrace every challenge, because this time, I chose myself. I stand in front of the easel. The brush glides gently across the canvas. The sunlight is dazzling outside the window. The air was filled with a hint of the fragrance of paint. Suddenly, the phone vibrated. I put down the paintbrush. I picked up my phone and took a look. The message was sent by Ethan. Amelia, let's meet up. I frowned slightly. I was just thinking of rejecting him. As a result, another message was received. The last time, I beg you. I took a deep breath. Answer said, all right, you decide the location, put down the phone. I looked out the window. Under the blue sky and white clouds, the city is still bustling and lively. I understand. This meeting could be an important turning point. Arrived at the upscale cafe that Ethan had arranged. I pushed the door open and walked in. The cafe's decor is very elegant. The soft light fell gently on the dark brown wooden furniture. It gives a warm and comfortable feeling. The air is filled with the rich aroma of coffee. Soft jazz music plays gently in the background. I suddenly saw Ethan sitting in the corner. He is wearing a fitted suit. The hair is neatly styled, looks very energetic. But when he turned his head to look at me, a hint of tension and anticipation appeared in their eyes. "Amelia, you are here." Ethan stood up. A slightly nervous smile appeared on his or her face. I nodded, sitting opposite him. The waiter brought a cup of latte. I gently didn't say anything. Ethan cleared his throat and said, "Amelia, I think we can start over," he said confidently. There is a hint of pleading in the eyes. During this time, I have thought a lot. Realize one's mistake. Give me a chance. Okay, I looked up, just about to refuse. Suddenly, I saw a familiar figure at the entrance of the cafe. Nathan walked in with long strides. His gaze was directly fixed on our table. He is wearing a casual suit. Every gesture exudes confidence and charm. Sorry to bother you." Nathan walked over to our table, said with a smile. His voice is very gentle, but the tone was very firm. Ethan frowned and said, "Nathan, how did you end up here?" Nathan ignored Ethan, turned to me, reaching out a hand. "Amelia, it's time for us to go." I was taken aback. He will soon understand what he is saying. I stood up, placed a hand in the palm of Nathan's hand. Nathan looked at Ethan. He spoke in a calm and resolute tone. "She is my girlfriend now." Ethan looked at us in shock at how close we were. The expression on his face changed from confidence to disbelief. "Amelia, is this true?" His voice was a bit trembling. I took a deep breath. "Say, yes, Ethan, we have finished." Nathan held my hand. I can feel the warmth of his palm. This simple action makes me feel very brave and secure. Ethan's face turned very pale. He wanted to say something, but in the end, he could only weakly sit back down in the chair. "Let's go," Nathan said softly. I nodded. "Follow him out of the coffee shop." Leave the coffee shop. The sunshine warms my face. I feel an unprecedented sense of ease, finally freed from the shadows of the past. A new beginning has arrived. "It's great to have you, Nathan," I said softly to the man beside me. Nathan smiled gently. "It's okay, I will always be by your side." We held hands. Walking on a sunny street. I know there is a long way to go in the future, but he is by my side. I no longer feel afraid. After walking for a while, Nathan's phone suddenly rang. He answered the phone. The expression on his face became serious. "Amelia." After he hung up the phone, he looked at me and said, "Ethan had a car accident." I was taken aback for a moment. There aren't any special feelings inside. "Is it serious?" I asked calmly. Nathan shook his head. "Not too serious, but he was hospitalized. I heard that he had an accident while trying to pursue you." I gently exhaled. I feel somewhat complicated inside. In the past, this news might have made me very anxious, but now I only feel a slight sense of pity. "You want to go see him?" Nathan asked gently. I shook my head and said, "Forget it. What we had between us is over." Nathan held my hand tightly. "Let's go to the art exhibition. I remember you like the works of that new artist." I looked at him with gratitude, nodded. The art exhibition is bustling with activity. The wall is covered with brightly colored paintings. Nathan introduced me to various artworks along the way. His gaze was filled with tenderness. "Look, the composition of this painting is so clever. You used to excel at this style the most." I looked at the painting in front of me. A wave of familiar excitement suddenly surged in my heart. That was my once passion for painting. "Nathan," I said softly, "I want to pick up the paintbrush again." He said with a glint in his eyes, "Great, I knew you hadn't given up yet. I will always support you." We exchanged a smile. Both felt happy and in sync with each other. At this moment, my phone rang. "It's a strange number. Hello." I answered the phone. "Amelia." An unfamiliar male voice came from the opposite side. "I am Ethan's friend. He is in the hospital now. I've always been calling your name. Can you come and see him?" I fell silent for a while. Answer softly. "I'm sorry. I have more urgent matters to attend to now." After hanging up the phone, I looked at Nathan. "It's Ethan's friend. They want me to go to the hospital." Nathan frowned. "You want to go?" I shook my head, seriously speaking. "No, I want to stay here. I watched this exhibition with you." A hint of surprise flashed in Nathan's eyes. Then she revealed a warm smile. "Good. I will accompany you. We continue to appreciate one painting after another, occasionally discuss one's own opinions. I feel a sense of calm and joy within my heart. Not long after, We just finished looking at the entire exhibition. Exit the exhibition hall. The afterglow of the setting sun fell upon us. Nathan suddenly stopped in his tracks, turned around and looked at me, say, "Amelia, I have something to tell you." I saw the seriousness in his eyes. The heartbeat accelerated uncontrollably. He took a deep breath, say, "The time I've spent with you, I am increasingly understanding my true feelings." Then he continued speaking, "I like you. It's a kind of affection that goes beyond mere friendship. I want to be with you, take care of you. I support you. Would you be my girlfriend?" I looked at this gentle and thoughtful man. A wave of warmth filled my heart. I know. I found someone who truly understands me and loves me. Our eyes met. They exchanged a smile. Their eyes were filled with happiness. We walked hand in hand into an upscale restaurant. The soft light shines on the white tablecloth, highlighting the exquisite tableware. A faint fragrance wafts through the air. It feels very comfortable. Nathan pulled out a chair for me. "Say it politely. Please sit down." I just sat down. I heard a familiar voice. "Yo, isn't that Amelia?" I looked up. It is Sophia. She is wearing a very expensive evening gown. A sparkling diamond necklace hung around her neck. Sophia walked up to me. She intentionally shook the diamond bracelet on her wrist, said with a smile, "Look, this is what Ethan gave me. How do you feel? You like it?" I glanced at her casually, did not speak. How jealous to the point of being speechless. Sophia said proudly, at that moment, a cold voice came through. "Sophia, what are you doing here?" We turned our heads at the same time. I saw Ethan standing there, pale complexion. Sophia said happily, "Ethan, you have arrived. I am chatting with Amelia." Ethan cast a cold glance at her. "Enough, stop bothering Amelia." Sophia's expression changed slightly. "What do you mean by that?" I silently watched all of this, no feeling in my heart. Ethan's behavior no longer affects my emotions. "Amelia, how are you?" Nathan asked with concern. I smiled faintly. "I am fine." Nathan stood up, blocking the way between me and them. "Please leave. Do not disturb us." Ethan looked at Nathan, looked at me again. Complex emotions were revealed in the eyes. I stood up. "Speak calmly. Let's go." Nathan nodded. "Hold my hand." We slowly left the restaurant. Ethan and Sophia gazed at each other, leave the restaurant. The night breeze gently blows. I took a deep breath. "How are you?" Nathan asked me softly. I looked into his gentle eyes, smilingly answered, "I am fine. Really, I know. I have completely let go of the past. At this moment, my heart is filled with happiness and anticipation. I understand. I have completely let go of the past. Back home." I gently pushed open the door. A wave of familiar, fresh air rushed towards me. This is my new home, filled with my breath and dreams. Several of my recent paintings are hanging on the wall. Bright colors, the brush strokes are very confident. I just sat down to take a break. The doorbell suddenly rang. Ding dong. I am a bit confused. Furrowed his brow. Get up and open the door. Through the peephole, I saw a face that was both familiar and strange. Ethan stood outside the door. The expression on her face was very complex. He tightly grasped something in his hand. The gaze was hesitant. It seems to be deep in thought. I took a deep breath. "Try to calm yourself down." He opened the door. "Is there something wrong?" I asked calmly. Ethan looked up. A glimmer of hope shone in their eyes. He reached out his hand. There is a delicate antique necklace in the palm of the hand. "Amelia." I retrieved it from Sophia. His voice was slightly trembling. "This is your mother's relic. I know it is very important to you." I looked at the necklace. There was no fluctuation in my heart. Once upon a time. This necklace carries many memories and emotions, but now it is just an ordinary piece of jewelry. I said calmly, "Thank you." Then I took the necklace. "This is your reimbursement for running errands." I took out several bills from my wallet, gave it to him. Ethan looked at me in surprise. It seems that they do not believe my words. "Amelia, he wants to say something." I interrupted him. "Ethan, our relationship has ended. Please don't contact me again in the future." His expression changed after he heard that, clearly very shocked, eyes filled with confusion. "Is there really no chance?" I shook my head. The gaze is very determined. "It's impossible. The past is already gone. We should look forward." At that moment, Nathan appeared behind me. He didn't say anything, just standing quietly, gave me silent support. "See Nathan." Ethan's expression became very complicated. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but in the end, nothing was said. "Goodbye, Ethan," I said softly, then closed the door. The moment the door closed, I feel a rush of relief. I understand. From now on, I will approach life in a completely new way. Nathan walked over to me, gently hold my hand, say, "You did a great job." I smiled at him. My heart was filled with strength and courage, with him by my side. I believe I can face all challenges. I smiled at him. The heart is filled with strength and courage. Early the next morning, I went to the gallery. The sunlight streamed through the glass window and fell onto the canvas. The whole place is filled with an artistic atmosphere. I took a deep breath, feeling this space that belongs to me. I carefully arranged my paintings. There was a passion for art reflected in their eyes. Every painting is infused with my heart and soul. It's like a part of my soul. Suddenly, the door was pushed open. I looked up. It is Ethan. Amelia hesitated a little, eyes flickered. I frowned. "Continue to focus on your own tasks. Is there anything going on?" Ethan moved a little closer, cleared his throat intentionally. "I heard that you are going to hold an art exhibition. I want to go and take a look." I ignored him. Focus on adjusting the position of the frame. He walked closer, reaching out to touch a painting. "This painting is really good. Is it a new work?" I immediately stood in front of the painting to block him. "Please do not touch my work." Ethan awkwardly retracted his hand. He began to look around. "The decoration here is quite nice. It has a strong artistic vibe." I replied very coldly, "Thank you." At this moment, Nathan walked in, holding several documents in hand. "Amelia, this is a sample of the exhibition brochure. Take a look." He hadn't finished speaking, just because I saw Ethan frown slightly. Ethan's expression was a bit strange. His gaze kept shifting back and forth between me and Nathan. Nathan walked over to me, asked softly, "Do you need my help?" I replied with a smile, "Let's take a look at the brochure together." So we started discussing the content of the brochure, completely unaware of Ethan. At this moment, Ethan is on the side. It becomes somewhat awkward. He cleared his throat, want to attract our attention. At that moment, the door of the gallery was suddenly swung open. Sophia burst in. Her face was filled with anger. "Ethan, how did you end up here?" she shouted, staring at me with sharp eyes. I calmly looked back at her. The ground said, "This is my gallery. Please remain silent." However, Sophia did not listen. He shouted at me, "You are a bad person. I still want to seduce my boyfriend." She suddenly ran towards my work. "Want to catch?" Nathan reacted quickly, immediately stood in front of the painting. "Please calm down." Ethan felt a bit at a loss beside them. "Sophia, stay calm." I picked up my phone. "Speak calmly. If we don't leave soon, I will call the police." Sophia was taken aback for a moment, then he became even more excited. "Do you dare to call the police? What do you think your role is?" I looked directly into her eyes. "Speak slowly. I am the master here. You are the guests who have come to disturb." Sophia was startled by my tone, stepped back a few paces. I called the police, watching the police take Sophia away. Ethan wanted to say something, but in the end, it was left unspoken. He left with his head down. The gallery returned to a state of calm. I took a deep breath. I feel an unprecedented sense of ease. Nathan gently held my hand. "Say, you did an excellent job." I looked at him, feeling warm in my heart. At this moment, I understand that I have finally truly let go of the past. Prepare to embrace a new life. I looked at him. A warm feeling surged in my heart. This moment, I understand that I have finally let go of the past. Prepare to embrace a brand new life. Early the next morning, I walked into the hospital. The smell of disinfectant hits me. The nurses are busy in the corridor. I took a deep breath, pushed open the door to the hospital room. Sophia is lying on the hospital bed, dull eyes. Her hair is a mess. Her face was covered in tear marks. I quietly watched everything from the doorway. Suddenly, Ethan pushed the door open and came in. He saw me, stunned for a moment. "Amelia, how did you end up here?" he asked in a low voice. I did not answer, just stared at him coldly. Ethan walked towards the hospital bed, whispered a question. "Sophia, are you feeling okay?" Sophia sat up suddenly. The eyes are wide open. "Go away." She shouted loudly. She grabbed the water cup from the bedside and threw it at Ethan. Ethan hurriedly dodged. The water cup hit the wall and shattered. He turned to me. A look of plea appeared in his eyes. "Amelia, can you help me?" I let out a cold laugh and said, "This matter is yours. It has nothing to do with me." At that moment, Nathan walked into the room. He saw me. There was a hint of concern in their eyes. "Amelia, how are you?" he asked softly. "Come to my side." I smiled slightly. "I am doing well. Let's go." We exchanged a smile, then turned and left the ward. Ethan stood there. A complicated gaze watched our departing figures. In the hallway, Nathan gently held my hand. "Ask the way. Are you really okay?" I took a deep breath. "Answer, I am fine." Really, all of this is in the past. We walked out of the hospital hand in hand. The warm sunlight shines on the face. I squinted my eyes, feeling the breath of a new life. Nathan, I said softly, thank you for always being with me. He smiled at me. Her eyes were filled with warmth. I will always be here, I know. My new life has just begun. The clouds of the past have lifted. The future is full of hope. Hold Nathan's hand tightly. I resolutely stepped forward. This moment, I feel incredibly relaxed and free.